Hello. In the present video, we are going to discuss about conditional loops. Under this topic, we learn about loops, classification of loops, for loops, while loop, do while loop. First, let us try to know what do you mean by a loop. In any program, if a particular block of statements are repeated for several number of times based upon a test condition is known as loop. Here in this diagram it has been shown. Suppose from here a condition is tested. After that, in a cyclic fashion, a particular block is repeated for several number of times as far as this condition is true. Once the condition is failing, we are come out of the loop. So this concept is known as loop, and this is very much useful in some mathematical calculations like calculation of factorial n, Fibonacci series, etc. Now, loops are classified as two types: entry control loop and exit control loop. The examples for the entry control loop are for while, and exit control loop, the example is do while. In detail we know about them in coming slides. Now here, if you observe that start, initialization, a test condition. If the condition is true, a block of statements are executed, some updated values are taken for expression, and again with those updated values, again we are coming for the test condition. Again the condition will be tested. If the condition is true, this loop will be iterated for several number of times till the condition fails. Once the condition fails, now we take the branching to other part and finally we stop it. So this is way how a loop works. Now first we are going to talk about a for loop. The syntax of the for loop is like this. There is a keyword for, and it has three parts. One is called initialization expression, test expression, and update expression. And it is containing a code block with some statements. Now, what is the meaning of initialization of expression? In this expression, we have to initialize the loop counter to some value. For example, int I is equal to 1, etc. like that. Now, the second is a test expression part. In this expression, we have to test the condition. If the condition evaluates to true, then we will execute the body of the loop and go to update the expression. Otherwise, we will exit from the loop. For example, once the value is taken and it will be tested, if this is true, the block is executed. Once the block is executed, we go for updation of the expression. With the updated expression, again we come for the test expression. If the condition is true, we enter into the block. If the condition is failing with the updated value, we come out of the loop. So thus there is initialization part, test part, and updation part. So with these three, this body of the loop will be executed. Now let us see with example. In this expression, int I is equal to 0, then we are writing the for loop. For I is equal to 1, that is initialization. I is less than or equal to 10, that is for test condition. I plus plus means I is equal to I plus 1, this is updation. Now let us see how it works. First we are taking I is equal to 1. I is equal to 1, condition will be tested. Is I is less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is true. If it is true, we have to enter into the block of the for loop, and this statement is to be executed, that is printf statement. It prints hello world. So the first hello world is printed. But after that, it goes to updation. Now I becomes I is equal to I plus 1 means it becomes 2. Again the condition will be tested. 2 is less than 10. As the condition is true, again we enter into it. Next hello world is printed, and again we go for updation for 3, and again hello world is printed, and so on. This will be repeated. Whenever 10 plus 1, that is 11, it becomes I becomes 11. This condition fails, and then we don't enter into the block, we come to return, and by that time, as it has been iterated for 10 times, the hello world is printed for 10 times, and after that we are coming out of the block. In this way the for loop works. Next one is while loop. In the while loop, almost logic is same, for only structure is different. We start with some values and a condition will be tested, and if the condition is true, then a loop body that is associated with the while loop will be executed, and the values are updated, and with the updated values again we come to the test condition. Now if the condition is failing, we are coming back, coming out of the while loop, and we are going for the some other statements. So this is the way of working about the while loop, and this is called entry control loop. Because the condition is being tested in the beginning, it is called entry control loop. Similarly, in the for loop also is known as entry control loop, because after testing the condition only we are entering into the loop. Now let us see how the while loop works. Now the syntax of the while loop is that while, within the parenthesis we have a test expression and a block of statements, and then update expression, close. Now what happens? Initially there will be some values. With those values we enter into the while statement test condition. The condition is tested. If the condition is true, we enter into it, all the statements are executed, and then the expression value here will be updated. With the updated value, again we go for the test condition. As far as this test expression is becoming true, the loop will be executed. Whenever the test condition fails, we come out of the block. Let us see an example. Here int I is equal to 1 initial, while I is less than 6. So initial value I is equal to 1, I is less than 6 is true, therefore print hello world will be printed, and after that it is becoming I plus plus updating, so I value is equal to now 2. So with these 2, again we are going to the test condition. Is 2 is less than 6, that is also true, again hello world is printed, and so on. Whenever I is equal to 5, by incrementing, the condition becomes true, and at that time the hello world is printed. Whenever I becomes a 6, the condition fails, we come out of the loop and return, and the program is terminated. So this is the how the while loop works. Next one is exit control loop. Why it is called exit control loop? Here at least once first body of the loop is executed, and then only condition is tested. If the condition is true, then again body of the loop is executed, otherwise we come out of the loop. When compared to the previous one, the speciality of this loop is that without testing any condition, at least once the body of the loop is executed. In other cases, when the condition fails, we never execute the block. Now let us see how the while loop works. The syntax of the while loop is that we will have a keyword do, and we contains the while block, that is statements block, and then we have the while condition, and in the while test condition, initially with expressions, without testing the condition we enter into the block, all the statements are executed. After that the expression values are updated. With the updated values we are coming for the test condition. If the condition is true, again with the updated values we are coming here and we do. So the do will be repeated for several number of times. Once with the updated values, if the test condition fails, we come out of the loop. one thing that we have to observe is that in the while loop, with the while statement, we don't have semicolon here after testing the condition. But whereas here, we have the semicolon. That is the difference. Now, let us see the example. Int I is equal to 2. Now, with I is equal to 2, directly we are entering it. We have not tested the condition. Now, immediately it prints hello world, and then I will be incremented. Now, I is equal to 2 plus 1, that is 3. Now, the condition is tested. Is 3 is less than 1? No, condition is failing. So, we come out of it and the program will be terminated. So, thus, in this, what we observe is that first, without testing any condition, the loop body is executed, and after the test condition will be tested. If the condition is true, we go to the iteration. Otherwise, we come out of the loop. Thus, in the present video, we learned about loops, classification of loops, for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Thank you.